Sometimes you ask yourself as a beginner in property and you say, how can I invest in property? And probably you don't even have money, or you have limited amounts of money. The starting point for somebody who wants to invest in property is for you to have an interest in moving around looking for properties. Properties will not come to you. Properties will not come to your house. Principles of success are the same. If you want to succeed in property, this is what you need to start doing. Whether you have money or you don't have money, you must start going around. When you see a property written for sale, stop and look at it. Ask some questions. I enjoy shopping for properties. Whether at that juncture I have money or I don't have money, it doesn't matter. It has become a habit. Wherever I go, I make sure I end up in the office of an estate agent. I remember the other time, I think it was July 2019, when we were in the UK with my wife. We were looking around to check how much is a property in the UK. When we went to South Africa, the same thing. We went to Dubai, the same thing. We went to Kenya, the same thing. We are in Zimbabwe, the same thing. In Botswana, almost every day, I'm checking the prices of property. I understand the ups and downs of property. I understand how much per square meter are the properties in Gaborone North, for example. How much per square meter are the properties in Gaborone West. You know, you need to have an interest. It doesn't matter you have money or you don't have money, but what matters is know what's happening. So the starting point, if you want to start in property, look for properties. Whether you are looking for them online or you are actually viewing them, it's actually better when you go to places and look at properties. Look at 3-bedroom properties. How are people, building properties these days? Which ones are the old kitchens? Which ones are the new kitchens? How does a modern 3-bedroom house look like? How does a traditional 3-bedroom house look like? So you need to be able to compare. And then the starting point, obviously, is for you to look at residential properties before you start looking at commercial and industrial properties. Because from residential properties to commercial properties to industrial properties, things become more and more complicated. So you don't want to start with complicated stuff. Start with residential properties. A story is told of a man who was owing, I think, was it $3 million US? And he went to a certain gentleman and said, you know what, please, can you lend me $3 million US? And then he was asked, what do you want it for? He says, you know what, I built some high-rise buildings and now I'm owing the bank and the bank wants to repossess. Please help me. And the man who was supposed to lend money to this guy said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And the reason why he refused was that this guy started by building high-rise buildings, tall buildings, expensive buildings, which put him in trouble. Yet he had never built a 1-roomed house. He had never built 2 rooms. You need to start somewhere. Start with a 1-room where possible. Then you go to a 2-roomed house. Then you go to a 3-roomed house. Then you build things like that. You grow in it. You learn through your mistakes and you learn from other people's mistakes. So if you have the question, where do I start in property when I don't even have the money? Start by looking at properties. Start by looking at their prices. Start by having an interest even in your neighborhood. Go around. Ask around, how much is this property? And so on and so on, and compare properties. When that happens, you begin to understand more about property and you begin to ask yourself, how do I get the money to buy the property? First of all, see the property, appreciate the properties, choose the properties, and then money will follow. Money is not the problem. The problem is the mentality.